We're not in a quorum call, Senator.
Oh, okay. Mr. President, I'm here today to honor the lives of our World War II Medal of Honor recipients who bravely served our nation, including the last surviving recipient who just celebrated his 98th birthday, Hershel Woody Williams. And my colleague is here with me, and we've known Woody for years and years and years, and there's just not a person who's never quit serving his country from the day he was born to the day he fought and won the Congressional Medal of Honor at Iwo Jima. If you ever saw any pictures and basically, you know, the war videos we see, and you see a little guy running around Iwo Jima shooting the flamethrower into the pillboxes, that was Woody. And it's just unbelievable. He's a fellow West Virginian. He was a Marine, a Medal of Honor recipient for his heroic efforts at the Battle of Iwo Jima that I've been told involved the flamethrower, which I have seen. And he says, not just one. I think he went through 5 flamethrowers. Because when he ran out, he went back and reloaded and went at him again. And just unbelievable. Woody has dedicated his life to our great and our beautiful United States through his service in the military and his dedication to supporting veterans and advocating for their needs for decades after. There's not a time when I know that Senator Capito and myself don't hear from Woody and there's something going on, whether it's at the cemetery or whether we're having a ride for the Gold Star families. We do a motorcycle ride, which I would like to invite you to and enjoy. It's wonderful. Senator Capito has been with us before on that, but it just really, it's a wonderful thing. And Woody has never failed to be part of it. Now he rides in a slingshot, but by golly, he makes the whole route. And he's dedicated his life really to our veterans and to the Gold Star family. He's bound and determined to get a committal shelter built at the Donald C. Kennard Memorial State Veterans Cemetery. And again, Senator Capito and I, both serving on the Appropriations Committee, have committed that we're united in getting this done, and we will get that done, and it needs to be. And that basically it would ensure that the families of our fallen soldiers and veterans, they have a safe place to lay their loved ones to rest, protected from the weather, rain, sun, and snow throughout the year. In this year's Military, Construction, and Veterans Affairs Appropriation Bill, we included language to create a pilot program that allows federal veteran cemeteries to build shelters for those purposes. But we must ensure the pilot program includes state veteran cemeteries like the Donald C. Kennard Memorial State Veteran Cemetery. The families of our fallen service members deserve to honor their loved ones in peace, and I'm proud to help Woody fight for this simple request. Americans like Woody Williams answered the call to serve our great nation during World War II, and he fought to ensure our democracy prevailed. Their sacrifices allowed the rest of us to enjoy the freedoms we hold sacred and help make the United States the strongest nation in the world. I'm going to share with you one story that Woody's told all of us back home, but he says the thing that he remembers most and the thing that he still grieves the most about. He had 2 Marines that were protecting him with gunfire while he ran around, and their lives were sacrificed for him. They both got, I think, both got shot and perished. And he says that they gave their life for me to do my job and protect them and save my life. And there's not a day goes by, he said, doesn't think about that, how the good Lord spared him, but the sacrifices that were made for him and our country. So I believe that honoring all those that served in World War II by allowing the last surviving, and I want to make sure we understand, Woody Williams is the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient from World War II. We're asking that he be allowed to lay and stay at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. And what better way to honor this generation and their sacrifices than the President to authorize a state funeral for that brave individual. And Woody, there's not a better person to represent all of those who've sacrificed and given their all, but all those that were basically decorated for their valor to do this. And bestowing this great honor on the last surviving World War II Medal of Honor recipient would be the perfect way to come together as a nation to salute the greatest generation. So I'm honored to be here with my colleague and my friend, Senator Capito, and a bipartisan. I've always said this, the glue that holds this country together is the people that put themselves in harm's way for all of us. They didn't say, well, I'll put a uniform on, and I'll take a bullet for the Republican but not the Democrat, or I'll take a bullet for the Democrat and not the Republican. Senator Capito's father took a bullet for all of us too, and she'll speak about that, I'm sure, and the bravery that he had. He was my dear friend, and we all miss him, but the sacrifices that my parents and Senator Capito's parents and that generation, that was the greatest generation I think that we'll ever see, because they took responsibility and took responsibility for their action. They held themselves accountable for their actions. And that showed the character that generation has, and that's what I would hope these young interns and all the young pages that we have here understand, that your character is defined at the day that you take responsibility for the actions, good, bad, or indifferent, and be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I made a mistake, I can do better. That's my fault, I'll fix that. That's character. So I'm honored to be here and honor every World War II veteran, every World War II Medal of Honor recipient. And I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to join us in our efforts to honor these brave veterans. And I call on our President Biden, to grant our request. And with that, I yield the floor to my colleague.
Mr. President.
Senator from West Virginia.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to talk about a good friend of ours, Woody Williams, here with my fellow senator from West Virginia, to talk about our fellow West Virginian, Hershel Woody Williams. He is just an incredible, incredible individual. And he turned 98 just, I think, last week. And so he was born in 1923, which was the same year my father was born. And Woody and I have talked about this, because when I see him, I see my dad and that generation. My dad's no longer with us. And, you know, they did incredible things at such young age. So one day I was honored to sit next to Woody on an airplane flying home. And he travels all over. It's amazing where he goes and what he does. And he told me his whole story of joining the Marines and signing up for the Marines and why he wanted to do it. And he was a country boy, just born. They didn't even really actually know when he was born. He didn't have a full birth certificate. And he's a little guy. And he wasn't quite big enough to maybe be able to join, and he worried about that. And he was 17, but nobody really knew how old he was. And I asked him, I said, well, what was your attraction to being in the Marines? And he told me, he said, one day he was in town, and he saw this guy walk by, and he was fully dressed in a Marine uniform. And he said, I want to be that guy. I want to wear that uniform. And he persevered, as he has in every aspect of his life. And there's so many, as Senator Manchin said, so many brave from that greatest generation that served in World War II. And he is the final World War II veteran Medal of Honor recipient of that award. And we are so proud of him in West Virginia, because, you know, it didn't stop there for him. He spent a lifetime advocating for veterans' health, for fallen soldiers' families, in a whole variety of roles, and he never stopped. As Senator Manchin said, he fought valiantly at the Battle of Iwo Jima, storming those pillboxes, all 4 of them, under relentless fire. He survived and the entire 5-week campaign in Iwo Jima. And as we know, that was one of the most staunchly defended Japanese strongpoints at that time, and his actions played a critical role in the eventual capture of that island. But he's inspired future generations to want to serve our nation. He's a hero for what he's done at home. He has committed himself for 75 years to veterans and their families. And he created the Hershel Woody Williams Foundation. Through his foundation, Woody advocates for and recognizes the sacrifices of our Gold Star families who have lost loved ones in the military. Because of his tremendous efforts, Woody and his foundation are responsible for 60 Gold Star family memorial monuments, and Senator Manchin and I have been to the grand opening. They just had a new one in Charleston on the grounds of the Charleston Capitol. It's beautiful to see, and the other 70 additional monuments that are going to be built in the future. You know, we need reminders, I think. We need reminders of the sacrifices that people make, and we need reminders of what it takes to defend our liberties, our freedoms, our families. And so we are really, really pleased to be here. The West Virginia legislature included Woody in the West Virginia Hall of Fame and named him a Distinguished West Virginian in 1980, and again in 2013, and they'd probably do it again next year. I mean, he's just so exceptional. His unending energy and passion have also inspired many generations. He has spoken to numerous schools, universities, community events, and veterans receptions, promoting patriotism and the ideals of service above self. I've been privileged to hear, and I know Senator Manchin has too, to attend several speeches given by Woody Williams, keeping in mind the last one I heard, he was 97 years old. Oh my gosh, so inspiring, so makes you just want to feel pride for our country, but for our people, that our country boy from West Virginia could keep inspiring the next generations. You know, he has been here to the halls of the U.S. Capitol, or you might have even seen him at the coin flip. How did he get there? At the Super Bowl in 2018. So he has gone on to really, I think, be a remarkable human being. And if you haven't met him or haven't seen him, make sure you get a chance if you hear he's coming your way. Abraham Lincoln famously said, "Any nation that does not honor its heroes will not long endure." Today, I'm proud to honor my friend with Senator Manchin and many other West Virginians and others around the country, and to share his stories of courage, compassion, and the service, not only in the past, but the service that he has today. So I'm glad to join a bipartisan group of our colleagues in honoring him and honoring him in the future. I yield back. Thank you.
And Senator Capito, if you could just wait a minute. I want to ensure you remember this very well. Woody, as the person who taught us all how to say the Pledge of Allegiance, because we think we know how to say it. We all memorized it as a little kid. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. What do you always say? One nation under God. Do not stop, do not hesitate at one nation. It's one nation under God. It's not one nation under God with liberty and justice for all. He corrected us, and he never would let us say it without going with no pause, because he says, we are a nation under God. And I'll never forget, he drove that home so many times to all of us. So to the young pages here, I hope you remember that. With that, maybe we should do a happy birthday together to Woody, because he's probably watching. So together, you and I, happy birthday, Woody.
President.
Senator from Mississippi.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I also want to wish Woody a happy birthday as well. I just joined my colleagues today to commemorate and honor some of the nation's most admirable warfighters in the Second World War. And I so appreciate my colleagues bringing their personal stories to the floor today. This is something that all Americans should cherish, the stories of these heroes. We have very few of these brave heroes still among us today, but it's so important that they receive every ounce of recognition that we can give them for their selflessness and extraordinary heroism. I'm pleased to be a co-sponsor of Senator Manchin's legislation to provide a merited celebration and commemoration of the last living World War II Medal of Honor recipient, Woody Williams, who recently celebrated his 98th birthday. Medal of Honor recipients like Mr. Williams demonstrated a courageous and noble commitment to our nation, and their exemplary actions deserve all the praise that we can give them. I'm proud to represent a state that has had several World War II Medal of Honor recipients of its own in Mississippi. Van Thomas Barfoot of Edinburgh, Robert T. Henry of Greenville, James Daniel Slayton of Gulfport, Lewis Hugh Wilson of Brandon, and Jack Harold Lucas of Hattiesburg, whom I still remain friends with his family today. From Germany to Japan, these men served our nation without hesitation in the height of the Second World War, defending our nation, our allies, and the very principles of freedom. It fills my heart with great pride to call these late veterans my fellow Mississippians. The tributes we offer today for Mr. Williams, in truth, stands for our deep appreciation for all of those who fought in World War II. I thank my colleagues for their great work on this important recognition and the opportunity to be a part of this. Thank you, Mr. President, and I yield the floor.
Mr. President, Senator from Montana.
Thank you, Mr. President. I join my colleagues today in support of our bipartisan resolution to designate a state funeral in honor of the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient for World War II. Woody Williams is that person, and this would also recognize millions of Americans for their service and sacrifice during the war. The Medal of Honor represents a small token of our appreciation for the spirit, determination, and gallantry of those who performed far beyond the call of duty, those of our greatest generation who gave everything on the battlefield. This includes 5 brave Medal of Honor recipients from the great state of Montana: William W. Galt, Laverne Parrish, Leo J. Powers, Donald Rule, and Henry Shower. Each of these men pitted bravery and heroism against great odds and showed exemplary devotion to our nation. Now, they have all passed, but their memories live on in each of us, in our freedoms, in the freedoms of our children, and those of our children's children. And today, we have a special opportunity to honor their service and ensure that their acts of heroism are never forgotten. A state funeral for the last surviving World War II Medal of Honor recipient is a key part in fulfilling this promise. These ceremonies offer our nation the opportunity to pause and reflect on the service of not only the individual, but also those who served alongside them. It is my hope that President Biden designates this state funeral so that we may honor the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient from World War II with this distinction. It is time to pay a final salute to the millions of men and women of our greatest generation who served our country with great courage. Mr. President, I yield the floor.